The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Good morning. Court Radio is now in session. Call 215-227-2727. When you've got legal questions, we've got the answers. This is Court Radio. And now here's your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning and welcome to Court Radio. It is April the 19th. And guess what? You know what? Yesterday was fantastic from a weather perspective. And I don't think today is going to be too far behind. It's actually going to be even nicer, I think. Maybe a few degrees cooler. But relax for the next hour and get your Court Radio on. If you've got legal questions, we've got the answer. All you need to do is dial 215-227-2727. And I'm joined in the studio with my co-host, the one, the only, the inimitable David M. Rappaport. Ooh. Yeah.
That's my little...
And if you're wondering what that is...
that's my little soundbite for what the topic is today.
Today's
Ready?
hot button topic.
Let me do it again. Ready? There you go. How was that? That sounded pretty good, didn't it?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, we like
Today's
that.
hot button topic is marijuana. And what happens to all the folks who are charged criminally who today would not be charged criminally because of the new laws
In Philadelphia.
We're
talking about Philly, decriminalization of small amounts of marijuana.
And we're joined by a few folks who are well known to Court Radio and to Philadelphia.
A few folks that might have some words about it and some insight.
I think we're going to be seeing, coming through Court Radio today, Dalen Leach, Senator from the 17th District of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And we got Nelson Diaz
Mm-hmm.
and Jim Kenney, two mayoral
candidates who might have something to say about what they can and can't do and think about it.
But before we get to the mayor's race and to the hot button topic, we got some issues that are going on in the area today, David.
Yeah. Like what? What's going on in Philly today? Is there an issue? Is that what you're saying? Or
no.
Any type of marches?
No marches.
Parades?
No, it's just a quiet Sunday in Philadelphia.
Tomorrow is 420, right? So
apropos
yes.
Yeah. You know, it took me yesterday was the first time I had to Google what 420 is. Maybe many of our listeners already know what that is.
Yeah, they might not know what it is.
And I assume you did.
Yes, I did.
And everybody else in the studio did. But I had to find out yesterday by Googling 420. Do you know how it came about? It's a day that apparently folks who partake in the drug marijuana, this is a celebratory day.
Well, I think the story.
Sort.
Tell me if I'm correct. The story goes that it obviously originated out of California, I believe,
and
I think it was a group of
in the 60s
students.
The hippie days
at 4:20 in the afternoon would be the time that they would indulge in.
There you go.
Smoking marijuana.
It was like at the end of the school day. Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, and then it just
they
became
were high school students,
right? And then it became sort of a landmark that on April 20th, that would be the day to celebrate that kind of idea or freedom to do that. Let's say.
To me personally, dumb, but listen, some people.
Everyone needs a day, though. So.
I guess dumb. Well, the whole marijuana thing is dumb. I mean, you start smoking pot and.
Don't even talk. Are you going to say it's a gateway drug?
No, not a gateway drug. I'm just saying that it takes away your, your initiative. It dumbs people down.
To some people, it does.
I don't know.
It makes them just eat Doritos.
I want to be sharp, like a knife. All right, let's talk to Kim on line 1 from West Oak Lane. Hey, Kim, welcome to Court Radio.
Good morning. How are you, Dean and Dave? Is it Dean and David today?
Yeah, it is. David, Big Dave's here.
David is here in the house.
West Oak
Good.
Lane, Kim. So, what are your plans for today? You're going to go out and enjoy the day?
Well, after I recover from this phone call, yeah.
Uh-oh.
I wanted to know, today's going to be as beautiful as yesterday. I'm going to have extra fun.
There you go.
A lot of fun, yeah. My question to you, Dean, you made a promise. You made a promise about 2 months ago that if anyone ever stumped you over the station on a legal question, you would buy them lunch. Then you told me over the air that if I could prove the fact that I had stumped you by going back and listening to all those podcasts that I had to go through, that you would settle that.
Well, listen, you became an expert at court radio. What can I tell you?
I'm going to take issue with
Wait. She says she stumped us, and I finally found out this week what it was.
What was it?
It was apparently we didn't know what the word or phrase "dark money" was.
That's I'm taking issue. First of all, that's not a legal question. Second of all, I remember this specifically, and first of all, I know what dark money is. Okay, so
I did not know what dark money was.
What happened was, okay,
we had Ken Trujillo on,
and he immediately answered. But I know what dark money. I'm going to listen to that podcast again. And Dean just admitted. Now you heard it. He didn't know what it was, so he's going to have to pay.
But listen. I'll go to lunch. That's not
there
a problem.
Go.
I'd love to go to lunch. But the thing is that dark money isn't a legal issue.
No, exactly.
It isn't. So I guess I was thinking, like, if you said to me, Kim from West Oak Lane, if you said, hey, Dean, what's a statute of limitations for a dog bite? And I scratch my head and I go, I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Right, then.
And the show ends not having answered your question, then.
Well, no, Ken Trujillo answered it.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't give us
a process, and Ken's
I know what dark money is. I mean, I knew it when you asked it. I remember that show. I'm going to listen.
I knew Dave would remember it. David would remember it. But, okay, I keep getting phone calls, right? And that's the end of it. So I'm saying to myself, Kim.
Whoa.
Wow, hey, funky.
What happened there?
Larry? I like that. Funky. Oh, well, okay. Is Kim still there?
Kim?
Oh, it was her line. That was a weird funky.
No, it's not. There's something wrong with the phones. And Kim, of course, will think.
Oh, we sabotaged, right, because we didn't want to take her to lunch.
Kim from West Oak Lane.
I think she's calling back. There's the call coming.
Trust me, we did not sabotage the line.
No, Kim,
It was Monica's issue. She's playing with
Monica's
wires.
Pumpkin over there with all the wires.
Yeah. Okay. Kim, let's get Kim back up on the line again.
Is that her?
I don't know. Now, Larry's not taking the chance. He's not pushing buttons. He's letting Monica do her job. So, all right.
Anyway, so, yeah, dark money, whatever. Well, I'm going to listen to that podcast. I'm going to go find it.
Yeah.
And we'll make that determination. But we honor our
our promises. David and I will go to lunch with Kim from West Oak Lane.
I never made a promise, number one. And two, you just admitted you don't know what it is.
Listen, your name's on the T-shirt now, dude.
Yeah.
So you're going to lunch.
Zippity-doo-dah.
Yeah. That's and Kim used a fake name to get on the show.
Kim, yeah.
Yeah, Kim.
So I wonder, let's see, lunch. We didn't say where, right?
No.
So a food truck would be apropos.
Yeah. But I give her credit. She's determined,
Yes.
know?
Oh, geez. That's an understatement.
Very determined.
I think stalking.
Larry says she's hungry. I say she's determined.
I say stalking is not far behind that deal. But
Did
anyway.
you hear about Britt McHenry?
Yes. No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
The ESPN anchor.
Oh, yeah. I saw the video.
Did you?
Yes.
Was it ugly?
Yeah, look. Again,
could you imagine yourself doing something like that?
No, she was a little bit overboard. However, my take on all of this is we are plagued in our society now with the advent of cell phones, cell video, and immediacy of things that happen. And, I don't even know why this is a story, but all she is a newscaster, an ESPN sportscaster. Who cares? But she's on her own, and she went a little crazy. She had a bad day, and she said things that no one should say. I get it, but still. She wasn't working at the time. Who cares?
Well, they gave her a 1-week suspension for it.
I just don't agree.
You don't think ESPN should have gotten involved?
Exactly. But they have to, because it was nationalized. The media put it out.
If you go crazy, like you were trying to get into my apartment complex this morning,
and I went a little crazy.
You went a little crazy
because the Gestapo was.
Yeah, the front security.
I almost went in.
Girl was asking you questions and demanding information and. So anyway, you went crazy.
I didn't go crazy.
I could kick you off of Core Radio for a week.
I didn't say. Whoa! I didn't. What crazy? All I said was, the Gestapo here. Yeah, I didn't say anything bad.
You were
her.
impolite.
Oh no! You listened to the what is it, Britt? What's her
Britt
name?
McHenry.
You watched. You haven't watched the video, obviously. You watch that video and you'll see someone going a little crazy. I mean, Reed, you have it on the sheet there.
Yeah.
Some of the things she said.
I threw it away.
Some of the things she said were just.
You don't have an education.
Yeah,
what are you talking?
I have a degree, and you don't. And what do you need? I guess if I don't have teeth, I can get a job here. Like really horrible stuff.
Right.
And the person was just doing their job, really. So, her car got towed. So Britt was a numbskull and had her car towed for some reason. Obviously, they didn't just tow it indiscriminately. She probably parked somewhere and didn't pay, and now she's PO'd at the towing person who's just doing her job.
215-227-2727. As always, if you've got legal questions, David and I have the answer. See that, Kim? Do you get that? Legal questions, not political questions. But speaking of politics, we got Dalen Leach on the line.
Finally.
Dalen, welcome. Good morning.
It's good to be with you.
Hey.
I just you're the senator from the 17th senatorial district.
17th.
Where is that?
Eastern Montgomery County, northern Delaware County, the western suburbs, Philadelphia.
The western suburbs. But you grew up in Philly. Just so the record is clear, you are a homegrown Northeast
homegrown
native.
Apropos for the
Yeah. Indeed, I am.
And you know what? I kind of love. I don't think has Dalen been on the show in the studio, or does he always call from his pajamas? Has he been? Have you been?
I actually have worn my pajamas to the studio.
Yeah, he came once.
He came to
right.
this. Okay. I love his politics. I love he's
progressive
and good. He's got good comedy. He's got good delivery. So really wonderful. Free thinking. Yes.
Not influenced by anybody.
Yeah. But
a lot of hair.
He's also a liar. A liar.
A liar.
A liar.
Jeez, wait.
Yes.
Whoa.
I read it. A lot of stuff about Dalen last night. I had nothing better to do.
And
clearly,
yeah. He claims to be mistaken often for Sean Penn. Yes.
Okay. I would say he is a liar then.
Yes. If he created that line, he must have been, doing something at the time. Dalen, welcome to Court Radio.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk.
The Honorable Dalen Leach.
Yes. Let's talk pot.
Here we're talking pot. You're somewhat of an expert on this. From a
legislative political
standpoint, and
right.
So why do you still feel that it's important for pot or marijuana to be legalized in Pennsylvania?
Well, there's two separate issues. There's medical marijuana and there's recreational marijuana, and there are different reasons for both in some ways.
Right.
Obviously, the medical marijuana, because we should get sick people medicine. That's as simple as that. That will help them. In terms of recreational marijuana, the prohibition on marijuana is a horrible, cruel, heartless policy that costs us billions of dollars and destroys lives. I mean, every year we take in Pennsylvania 25,000 otherwise law-abiding citizens, put them into the criminal justice system for smoking a plant. For the rest of their life, they have to check a box whenever they apply for a job. and many of them are incarcerated or otherwise monitored. It creates a black market, which is not governed by law but governed by crime, as all black markets are. It costs about $300 million a year in Pennsylvania. It's just a terrible, terrible idea for a substance which is more benign than alcohol, which we not only promote, but we're in the business of selling in Pennsylvania.
Right.
So it's an irrational policy. Keep in mind, this was made illegal in 1937 because of economic interests of people who didn't want it competing in terms of the paper that the hemp makes and other things. Had nothing to do with public health. In fact, Harry Anslinger, the guy who led the crusade to make it illegal, testified before Congress. And when he testified as to why they should make it illegal, it has nothing to do with people's health. He said it makes black people think they're just as good as white people, among other things. And of course, the Southern senators, that's all they had to hear. But it's just an irrational, cruel policy, which is crumbling really before our eyes.
Well, let me ask you something, Dalen. Do you think that the fact that Philadelphia has decriminalized small amounts of marijuana make it more likely that Pennsylvania will follow suit?
Yeah. Well, this is a wall that is, as I say, cracking. We see the public opinion polls going up, in sort of the same trajectory as the support for marriage equality went up.
Right.
I mean, there are just dramatic increases in support for legalization. We see it passing, even in 2014, which is a very conservative year politically, a red tidal wave. It passed everywhere it was up for a vote. In 2016, when a lot of states were waiting to put it on the ballot because more young people turn out for a presidential election, you'll see 8 or 9 more states legalize it.
Right.
It just reaches a tipping point where prohibition is no longer sustainable pretty quickly.
Well, even if you're not well versed in politics, once the voters start getting into it, then it's a done deal, pretty much.
Let me ask you a question. For the next mayor, what suggestions would you have to get? Really, we're going to be talking to some of these guys in a couple minutes, and there are people who have on their record convictions for small amounts of marijuana, which is now legal in Philadelphia. So the question is, these people have a red X on them that they're not able to get jobs, or it's more difficult for them to get jobs. Do you have a suggestion for the potential next mayor on how to get these folks' records expunged? Because that's really a statewide issue.
It is a statewide issue. It would have to be a state legislation. I also just want to make a quick, which should happen, by the way. Number one. Number two, just a quick thing. People sometimes don't understand, decriminalization versus legalization. Decriminalization is, a step in the right direction, but you have to legalize, because without legalization, there's no protocol. You still, if it's decriminalized but not legalized, you still have to buy it behind the bowling alley from, some guy named Greenie. Okay, it's not. If you legalize it, you can actually set up a protocol, an infrastructure. You can tax it, you can grow it, and you can allow people to buy it in a place where they know the potency, they know it's the purity, they know it's safe. It's like decriminalizing alcohol in the 30s would have still had people making it in their bathtubs in the backyard. That's not what we want, because that's not safe for people. So really it has to be full legalization to get the economic benefits and the public health benefits.
God knows we could use the economic tax base, but and all you really have to do is look to some other countries like Portugal that have legalized virtually every drug in its entirety, and nothing bad has happened there. And in fact, good things have happened. More people, there's less crime, more people are in rehab, and there's huge influx of tax money for selling the drugs. So
use in Portugal, use has gone down after they legalized it among teenagers.
Right.
Because it's not cool anymore once it's legal,
So use has gone down, rehab visits have gone up, crime has gone down. There's not a bad thing to be said about it. And I know that eventually, while we are not progressive in America and we're not the leaders of social innovation, we eventually get around to it once it's spread everywhere else. So I suspect the day will come, maybe not in my lifetime, but the day will come when drugs are legal in America.
I don't know the state of your health, but I would guess in the next 5 years or so we'll see legalization virtually everywhere.
Of all drugs?
No, marijuana.
Marijuana. Yeah, I agree.
I'm saying what I said was I don't think it'll be in my lifetime, but I think all drugs will be legalized at some point.
I'm not so sure about that.
Well, at the very least, I don't think you'll ever have a protocol where people could just walk into a store and order crystal meth.
Yeah, or heroin or something.
At the very least, we will, even on things like that, we should de-emphasize, if someone is on meth, it's less of a criminal issue and more of a public health issue. Just things like, treatment and addiction counseling and education and things like that are going to be far more effective than putting someone in jail, introducing them to a whole bunch of more criminals, essentially. I think we'll be moving in that direction for sure.
Dalen, thanks for participating today on Court Radio. And tuck yourself back in bed. Have a great Sunday. We'll see you soon, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.
Take care.
215-227-2727. It's Court Radio, and we are answering legal questions. So let's get a caller on the line. How about line 2, David from West Philly? Good morning, David, to Court Radio.
Yes, good morning. I'm calling about I had 802 hours comp time, and I had a lawyer take care of it, right? And I want to know how I can retrieve the full balance or the full amount from my job.
Full amount. I don't understand.
Well, he's got 800.
Right.
A lawyer made a claim for you for your comp time. And are you retired now, or are you still working there?
Yes, I'm retired now.
I see. Well, when you say he made a claim, was there a hearing? Did you have some sort of a union hearing,
yes,
or?
He had a hearing and everything, and he said he came up with a settlement. And I went down to City Hall and see how much the settlement was, and it was all zeros on there. And then he told me, he started screaming and hollering at me and saying, "This is what you get, $4,000 right here." And I said, "Okay." I said, "I went to City Hall, but it comes up zero." I said, "I'd like to know the original settlement."
Okay, well,
a lot of issues there.
Yeah, well, first of all, I would say, why don't you get your file from the lawyer? If you're questioning whether the lawyer's telling you what the reality is, it sounds to me like you're questioning what he settled the case for, and you're not sure if you're being told the truth. You're not sure if you're getting all the money you're entitled to get. Am I correct in that assumption?
Correct, 100%.
Okay, so it's the simple answer is that as the lawyer's client, and it is your case, that file that he has, you are entitled to. Every paper in it, virtually, all the correspondence, so you ask the lawyer for your file, and he has to give it to you. And if he doesn't give it to you, and you repeatedly ask, and he repeatedly fails to give it to you, you can make a complaint to the Disciplinary Board of Pennsylvania, and let them know that you requested your file, and the lawyer hasn't given it to you. It's simple enough, and I would do it in writing, David. I'd call, but I'd also send a letter to the lawyer saying that you'd like a copy of your file. Please let you know when it's going to be available for you to retrieve. You may have to pay a small charge for copying the file, maybe, but you're entitled to it. And then you'd see all the correspondence back and forth between your lawyer and the other lawyers. And you'll see what it's settled for.
I still don't understand. The one thing I don't understand, Dean, is and it's in workers' comp cases, all the cases we that are handled in this nature. Once you get your money, there's usually a distribution sheet or an explanation of here's how much you get, here's how much we, the lawyers, are taking, here's how much there were in costs, let's say, and then the rest is yours. And you get a breakdown of everything.
You do, but he's questioning
how much it actually settled for.
He didn't have to sign a release, it sounds like.
Right.
See, David, normally when a client of mine or David's one of their cases settles, they sign a document called a release. And in the release, it says, I agree to accept X amount of dollars, whatever that is, $1 million. I agree to accept $1 million in exchange for releasing my claim. And they sign a document. And so there's a paper trail exactly of how much their case settled for. Did you have to sign a release for your 802 hours?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
At my job, they gave me a paper, right?
Yeah.
And they told me, they said, listen, you have 802 hours of comp time.
And at the 802 hours, David, at how much were you making an hour?
$13.50 an hour. $13.50 an hour.
$13.50 an hour. Okay, so you have 800 times $13.50. Sounds to me like it's about 10 grand or a little bit more than 10 grand. And so you then, if that's what they did, they reduced your hours to the amount and gave a check to your lawyer. It doesn't sound like the check should be $4,000. It sounds like it should be $10,000 or $11,000. However, lawyers charge a fee, 40% maybe. So now you're down to $6 grand.
Well,
and then
workers' comp would be 20%.
It's not workers' comp. This is like a hybrid. This is he was retiring and
that's
he
right.
had comp time. So you'd come down and you'd be down to about 6, and then he might have costs in the file. I don't know, but he may. So you may be entitled to $4 grand after everything is said and done. You got to look at your contract with the lawyer, how much of percentage you gave him, what costs he. I'm sorry?
1/4.
25%.
25%.
Right.
Okay. Well, like I said, get your file. Get your entire file. Review it.
Or get an explanation. I mean, I'm not so sure you just abandon.
Sounds like the lawyer, pulled one of those screaming things and said, this is what you're getting, and get out.
Yeah, well, you're entitled to all the information, so get it somehow.
David, go send a letter to him, tell him you want your file, and follow it up with a phone call. And if he doesn't give you your file and you can't kind of figure out what's going on, then you can always go to the people who lawyers don't like, and that's the Pennsylvania Disciplinary Board. Have a great Sunday, David, and thanks for listening to Court Radio.
What's that last word you said? It's what board?
Pennsylvania Disciplinary Board.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay. Let's talk to Nelson Diaz. Okay. He's on the warm line. Good morning, Nelson Diaz, and welcome to Court Radio.
Good morning. Good morning.
This is exciting. It's your first time on Court Radio. You are running for mayor, and we wish you all the best in that endeavor. But today we're talking about marijuana, and we're talking about the decriminalization of marijuana in Philadelphia and how to get folks who have convictions for that which is no longer a crime in Philadelphia, or no longer a crime that would follow them on their record. Like a traffic ticket isn't following me, and I've got plenty of them, isn't following me on my record. So why should, misdemeanors and or felonies that really aren't misdemeanors or felonies any longer? What can we do about it?
Well, obviously, an individual could file an expungement and would have to file a motion in the motion court system of the criminal process to get an expungement. The other opportunity is, if I become mayor, is I would essentially ask the city solicitor to proceed with asking for the Supreme Court to order the expungement of all cases related to the small amount of marijuana that a person may or may not have been either arrested or convicted.
All right. That's one idea. And is that something that you would be in favor of if you became mayor?
No question about it. I don't think that the marijuana issue is that much of a detriment anymore. We've got legalization throughout the country. The state of Colorado and the state of Washington are making substantial amounts of resources as a result of the process. And, we should be able to promote also at least the beginning of the experiment here for medical purposes, where a lot of folks could
have an easier time instead of taking all of the addictive medication that today is provided for pain and other sufferings.
Let me ask you this, Nelson. How do people get in touch with you if they want to talk to you about these issues and others as the race heats up?
My website is nelsondiazformayor.com, and they can call at 646-678-0055.
All right. Thank you very much, Nelson, and great success with the race. Thanks for joining us on Court Radio.
Hey, take care, and I really enjoy how very informative you are and how accurate you are. Many of your suggestions and advice that you give on the radio. So you have done a pretty good job, and better than some of my own former colleagues on the bench.
Hey, all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson. Have a great Sunday.
We may have a future on the bench then.
Take care. All right. 215-227-2727. You know, Court Radio has provided a lot of good information to our listeners over the years. But Kim from West Oak Lane is still angry that
is she on the phone now?
No.
Okay.
No. If she is, she might be Michael from Norristown today.
She's still angry? I don't think she was angry.
No, she wasn't. She was a good sport, but she's claiming that we were stumped. I don't think we were.
Yeah. And we got to get that clip. We're going to play it next time and figure out.
Yeah, Larry, it's the Ken Trujillo podcast.
It's easy to find.
Find out if we were stumped. If we were stumped, play it next week, and we'll apologize profusely. 215-227-2727. We're talking about marijuana. We're talking about folks who have been convicted of misdemeanors, let's say, and now they wouldn't be convicted of anything. Let's talk to Jim Kenney, who's the other mayor candidate for mayor today that has joined us on Court Radio. Welcome, Jim.
Hey, Dean, how you doing?
You know, I owe you an apology. If nothing else, I'm an honest guy. I try to be anyway. Jim called me like 3 times, and I didn't get back to him.
Ooh,
and Jim,
that's bad.
No, it is. But I got inundated. There was a period of time when 7 mayor candidates called me all the same week. Jim, my sincerest apologies.
Not a problem.
See,
you're a busy guy, and sometimes you just get swamped and you can't get back to people.
Jim didn't give up, though. That's the key.
Yes, he did not. He did not. And
I need a check.
Right.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, the check is in the mail.
It's in
No, if we can, we'll talk this week. How's that? And if you're around, I know it's getting busier and busier for you too. Just don't take away my parking space once you become mayor, okay?
Where's your parking space?
Just kidding, Jim. I'm not telling you where the parking space is. It'll take you 4 years of being mayor to find out where my parking space is. No, let's be serious for a moment. We're talking about marijuana today, Jim, and we're talking about the fact that Philadelphia is in really the avant-garde of Pennsylvania in having decriminalized marijuana and made it.
That's not accurate.
Oh no,
Philadelphia is the last county to stop custodial arrests for the small possession of marijuana.
Has it been decriminalized in other counties?
I don't know if it's been decriminalized.
Right.
They stopped locking people.
But they
up.
stopped locking people up. Okay, I guess it's like a formality in a way, but really, legally speaking, we've been the only one who decriminalized it. Actually,
I agree.
Okay.
But in effect, we're the last county to stop handcuffing, transporting.
Oh wow, interesting.
Fingerprinting and photographing people for this de minimis activity.
Well, that's refreshing to know, because that kind of answers one of the questions we were going to ask, which is about the expungement. And I guess if all these counties are on board, it's going to become easier to get the legislature.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Let me ask you, because a lot of times people get confused over what is municipal jurisdiction, what is the Commonwealth jurisdiction, what is the United States jurisdiction, and there's only certain things politicians can do. If you're a municipal politician, you don't have any effect necessarily on what the state does. But the
way the code is written, it's a may provision, not a shall provision. And in the issue relative to arrest, it says the county may arrest, not shall arrest. And that's what our city solicitor and outside legal counsel opined on as a result of our legislation. They said, well, the Commonwealth says in its code, in its crimes code, you may arrest. So we decide not to do that.
Right, and that explains how you got the decriminalization of marijuana. But the question I have is, all those people who preceded that event who have misdemeanor charges that are following them, because even misdemeanor charges cannot be expunged in Pennsylvania right now, though we're hoping that will change. How do you help the folks who have misdemeanor charges in Philadelphia who wouldn't be charged with a misdemeanor today?
Yeah, no, I think that's very, very sad that in many ways people who have been arrested prior to the passage of our decriminalization bill are still stuck. I mean, I intend to, as mayor, if I'm elected, to talk to and work with the Bar Association, the barristers, and others in the city to try to figure out how we can conduct a robust expungement program for those who are eligible, not only for marijuana, but for other issues too, because as you know, a criminal record follows you to the ends of the earth and limits your ability to meet your potential in many ways.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
and it creates a whole underclass of folks who then have to turn to other methods to, to put food on the table.
More serious stuff than smoking a joint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, really.
All right. Well, we thank you for joining Court Radio. I thank you for giving me a pass on the failure to return the call. But by all means, reach out this week. I'd love to talk to you and have you back on Court Radio many times in the future.
We'll do, and your parking space is safe.
I want a parking. I'm going to get one.
Jim. Have a great Sunday.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you.
You want a parking space?
I want to get it, yeah.
Listen, you started out by getting on the T-shirt. That's far enough for you for now. And I gave you a key fob. Oh, my goodness.
I know my key fob actually works.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that.
Don't tell Radio 1.
I just did.
Yeah. 215-227-2727. We're going to take a quick break, folks. We got to pay the bills. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. Stay on the line.
For 20 years, Center City Medical Center has provided premium expert medical services for Philadelphia. Whether you need musculoskeletal rehab or an immigration physical, call 888-945-EXAM. Our board-certified physicians have more than 80 years' experience from post-injury rehab to DNA paternity testing. To make an appointment at one of our 3 convenient locations, call 888-945-EXAM. Get premium expert care. Center City Medical Center, serving Northeast, North, and Center City, Philadelphia. If you've been injured on the job and are entitled to workers' comp, you need someone fighting for you from the start. Call Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law. Don't rely on your employer or insurance company to get it right. Call 215-512-1500. If you're entitled to workers' comp or it's being challenged, Jeffrey Gross can help get the money you deserve, and he won't get paid unless you get paid. Call 215-512-1500. Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law, representing Pennsylvania's injured workers for more than 20 years. It's a legal and financial squeeze. You're unable to work because of an accident, but your legal case is still not settled, so you can't pay the bills to take care of your family. But now, thanks to U.S. Claims, you can. If you have a pending lawsuit, call 1-877-U.S. Claims. While you're waiting for your settlement, U.S. Claims can help you pay the bills. Get out of the squeeze. Call 1-877-U.S. Claims today. If you have legal problems and need answers, call My Philly lawyer, Dean Weitzman, first at 215-227-2727 for personal injury, medical malpractice, birth injury, and more. Call Dean first.
He will fight for your rights. That's what Dean Weitzman is all about.
Call My Philly lawyer, Dean Weitzman, first. 215-227-2727. My Philly lawyer, when winning matters most.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Welcome back. It's Court Radio, and I'm Dean Weitzman. You got legal questions, we got the answers. Give us a call at 215-227-2727. 27. Ba-boom. Yeah, I think we need to shorten that.
Yeah, it's a little too long.
Just a little bit. Just
waiting about 5 minutes.
Yeah, Larry, just cut that back by about 5 seconds. David, welcome back to Court Radio.
Welcome back. What, was I not here?
Well, you just got off your stool. I don't know.
I dropped my my phone.
Well, that phone's on its way out anyway.
It is.
All right, let's. We got a marijuana caller. Somebody's got a question. Let's talk to Dee from Mount Airy. Hey, Dee, welcome to Court Radio.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
We're wonderful, thank you. We're wonderful. What's your question or what are you doing up so early, Dee? Where you going?
Actually, I'm just coming home from work.
I
always listen to you on Sunday mornings on the way home from work.
And it's time to.
Where do you work at, Dee?
I work with the city.
Oh, okay.
Time to smoke a nice little joint.
No,
no, okay. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
She does not participate.
What's your question?
She's just asking for educational purposes. Go ahead, Dee. What's your question?
Medicinal education.
Actually, for rights, because my question was, what are the rights of tenants who live in apartment complexes and they smoke marijuana and it interferes with the other residents?
What do you mean?
What rights do the other residents have, or?
Well, I think that's a great question.
That's a good question. Yeah.
For instance, I too live in an apartment currently, and you
can smell.
Well, no, but in the lease, I was going to get to the lease.
Yes.
I'll make it a legal issue here. In the lease, it says you're not allowed to smoke on the premises,
right?
Even in your apartment. And many apartments nowadays have a no smoking clause in their lease. And so the first question I have is it in the lease? And
yes,
if it is,
what does it say?
If it says smoking is not permitted, then your rights are, you got all the rights in the world. You report them to the office. You say, look, this apartment.
The problem is getting the office to enforce it.
Right.
That's always the problem. Yes.
You know what you could do to do that? You can take your rent and put it in escrow. I mean,
if it's wait a minute. Take a step back. You can, but you need to do it the right way. And first of all, the right way is first. I don't think it's enough that you just know that they're doing it or occasionally smell it. It needs to be affecting your ability to enjoy your property.
Right. So your apartment needs to stink.
Right. And then you need to notify them in writing, your landlord. And then when they don't do anything about it, then you notify them that you're going to be putting rent in escrow. There's a process. You can't just say, I'm not going to pay rent.
No, I'm not suggesting that.
I know.
And
I'm just making sure.
I think David's protocol.
You got to do it though.
The Rappaport protocol
there you go.
is effective. You want to give your landlord notice so that they can cure the defect. Okay, they have to have notice, and notice is every time I say notice,
written.
It's always written.
Got to be writing.
So you send a letter saying, "Look, frequently I'm not able to even really function in my own apartment because of the smoke, marijuana smoke that's emanating from the apartment next door or above or wherever it is." And you want them to enforce their own rules. And if they don't do that, you report it again, and you say, "I asked you to do this. You haven't done it." And I'm letting you know that if it doesn't stop, I'm going to put my rent money in escrow. Then you have to open a separate bank account just for the rent. And you title it, apartment escrow rent. And you put your money in there.
Every month.
You say to the landlord, it's yours as soon as you cure the defect. So that's our suggestions on that. But it all starts at the lease.
Yeah.
It really does. And the more it becomes decriminalized, the less the police want to be involved in it.
Correct.
So, I'd say call the police, but they're not going to come out and knock on somebody's door over that.
You have more power through your money and your contract with the landlord.
Yeah, you have a
police
contract.
Don't have anything. Yeah, the police really.
And
don't.
listen, if they still don't solve the problem, you take the money out of the escrow account and you go get yourself another apartment and move on.
Right.
I mean. All right, Dee from West. Where are you? West Oak Lane? No.
Mount Airy.
Now you're going to go home to bed. So
yeah. Thanks for listening to Court Radio, and have a great Sunday.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
All right.
Another satisfied caller. Let's talk to Nia from West Philly about marijuana. Yeah, T-shirts. All right, we'll give it to Nia here.
More pot.
Hey, Nia, you're going to get a T-shirt. Stay on the line at the end of the question, and Monica will get your address. Oh, Nia.
Nia? She's rolling a joint right now.
Nia. West Philly Nia.
Nia's gone.
She's gone. All right. Sorry. Hey, just when you thought, you could give a T-shirt away. 215-227-2727. Let's talk to Lulu from Mayfair. Oh, Lulu.
Hi, good morning. How is everyone?
Hello.
We're well, thanks. Hey, Lulu, we're going to give you a T-shirt. Stay on the line. We're going to get your address at the end of your call.
That sounds wonderful.
So what's your question, Lulu?
Well, I have to make a comment on this marijuana thing. It takes me back to my early days of business school, and for what I remember, I used to get hallucinate and hear things and see things, so it never was agreeable with me.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, me either.
You must have had some good marijuana there.
Some people are just negatively affected. I personally, whenever I tried to smoke marijuana, the whole world started spinning, and I was nauseous. And
well, look, it's just like anything else. Some people can.
It wasn't agreeable, and just
some people could have one drink, and some people can have five.
Whole mind and being, I could never feel that free.
Yeah.
But my question to you today is regarding a family member of mine. My niece, she no longer is married. She's divorced from her husband. He's Pakistani and he lives in New Jersey. And her parents live here in Philadelphia. And he no longer wants the grandparents to see the child. I think he wants to raise them to be a Muslim or something like that now. And my question is, what they found out now, since they're going back and forth to court, that New Jersey, they have a right, and that father can do whatever he wants, and so they don't have a leg to stand on. So I was telling my sister-in-law maybe she needs to make it an international affair or something.
Well, now, unfortunately, child custody issues are local issues, and it depends on the jurisdiction. Typically, is the jurisdiction where the child resides. But if the child was only recently taken out of, let's say, Pennsylvania and moved to New Jersey, Pennsylvania may have jurisdiction up to 6 months after the child leaves. But if it's been longer than that, then Jersey is
like 10 years. The kids are like 10, and she's had them ever since they were born.
Right.
And now he has his father, his mother, his dog, and his cat, everybody in this country. And I don't mean to sound mean or nasty, but we have to throw in the kitchen sink now in order to get these kids or to see these children.
Well, what about? I don't understand. I'm not understanding something. Doesn't mom have a right to see her own child in this setting?
He has a right, but something went awry, and so he has full custody.
So she doesn't even have
taken out of the equation.
So mom doesn't even have visitation rights.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very sad state of affairs when that happens, because you're right, and even in Pennsylvania, the right of a grandparent isn't the same as the right of a parent. And, the right of a grandparent for a child who's never resided with the grandparent is even more limited in Pennsylvania.
It sounds to me the only recourse, or the easiest recourse,
How old is the child now?
To revisit the 10.
Children. One is 10 and one is 6. And again, she raised these children. He used to allow them to have Christmas at their home and everything.
Well, she can file for a modification of that order. How old is the order that gave him full custody?
When you say she, are you referring to
the mother?
The mother.
I'm referring, yes, my sister-in-law,
yeah.
mother. Yeah,
my
brother.
How old is? When did he get full custody?
He got, I think, within a year now, since they've been going back and forth.
All right.
I think within a year now.
I mean, there has to be some type of change in circumstances or something, but it can be argued that the modification of that order, for whatever reason, she was stripped of her rights. Maybe
we're talking about two different things, though.
Yeah.
Because what David's saying is that the actual mom, can seek to have custody or visitation of her children.
Well, and then she can dictate who.
And
cannot.
Yeah. So
she cannot. Okay.
She cannot. Right.
Gotcha.
So it's just the grandparents, and unfortunately,
I don't think there's much.
Unfortunately, the grandparents don't have rights to seek visitation with a grandchild.
That's true.
That they have not raised in their home, who's lived with them. And who's and
did. She got them. She would get them every weekend or so, take them out for lunch, Christmases, whatever holiday, take them up in the Poconos with her sister. I mean, they lived the life, and now the children are acting up because they don't see mom anymore.
I understand.
I get that. Yeah,
we sympathize. But when I say lived with, I'm saying full-time resident of grandma. Two things have to happen: full-time resident of grandmom's house or granddad's house. Okay, and then the mom whose parents are seeking to have visitation has to have passed away. So you pose a lot of difficulties here. The daughter, the real mother, is alive. She just doesn't have visitation rights.
Yes.
And the children didn't live with the grandparents. And so when you combine those facts in this circumstance, I'm afraid that the grandparents are going to have a rough time of it getting visitation rights. That's what I think in this instance. And it's in New Jersey where they have even less rights. So
now my recourse, sir, is this, and it's pretty. It's terrible, but this is just a thought. I'm thinking like this man, he has a fixing place in Jersey. I'll get some leaflets and say he's just non-American. And tell them if you don't let them see the kids, but that's slanderous.
Yes, something. That could be slanderous. It could be also
dangerous.
Not the way to go about it. I think that maybe the better way to do it is what you said originally, and that is to kind of keep up the contact and try to keep the pressure going in a more constructive fashion. Maybe you should talk to like a psychologist or psychiatrist in this instance to try to figure out ways to kind of soften his heart and get him to give the grandparents an opportunity and maybe
because of the mindset of the children, the psychiatrist. Or because of the silly thing I just said.
No, the mindset of the kids, and that they would be, because oftentimes this is often dictated by what's in the best interest of the children. And, so in any event, we got to run, Lulu. Stay on the line. We're going to get your address, okay?
This is a very successful show. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Lulu. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Stay on the line. We'll be right back.
For 20 years, Center City Medical Center has provided premium expert medical services for Philadelphia. Whether you need musculoskeletal rehab or an immigration physical, call 888-945-EXAM. Our board-certified physicians have more than 80 years' experience from post-injury rehab to DNA paternity testing. To make an appointment at one of our 3 convenient locations, call 888-945-EXAM. Get premium expert care. Center City Medical Center, serving Northeast, North, and Center City, Philadelphia. If you've been injured on the job and are entitled to workers' comp, you need someone fighting for you from the start. Call Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law. Don't rely on your employer or insurance company to get it right. Call 215-512-1500. If you're entitled to workers' comp or it's being challenged, Jeffrey Gross can help get the money you deserve, and he won't get paid unless you get paid. Call 215-512-1500. Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law, representing Pennsylvania's injured workers for more than 20 years. It's a legal and financial squeeze. You're unable to work because of an accident, but your legal case is still not settled, so you can't pay the bills to take care of your family. But now, thanks to U.S. Claims, you can. If you have a pending lawsuit, call 1-877-US-CLAIMS. While you're waiting for your settlement, U.S. Claims can help you pay the bills. Get out of the squeeze. Call 1-877-US-CLAIMS today. If you have legal problems and need answers, call My Philly lawyer, Dean Weitzman, first at 215-227-2727 for personal injury, medical malpractice, birth injury, and more. Call Dean first.
He will fight for your rights. That's what Dean Weitzman is all about.
Call My Philly lawyer, Dean Weitzman, first. 215-227-2727. My Philly lawyer, when winning matters most.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning and welcome back. It's February the 19th, and I'm joined in the studio with my co-host, David M. Rappaport.
Howdy.
So, David,
yes,
we've been talking marijuana. Let's talk to Anissa on line 3 from Northeast Philly. Anissa, welcome to Court Radio.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Where in Northeast Philly are you from?
I'm actually around the Cotman and Bustleton area.
Ah, yes. Know it well.
Grew up there.
Yeah.
Grew up there. That was where my
Roosevelt
posse,
Mall, baby.
My posse and I hung out at the Roosevelt Mall. Yeah,
I used to go to that. What was that arcade called?
I would take a few bucks out of Mommy's pocketbook and go up to play some pinball.
What was that called? That place?
Jim's.
No, it's now Jim's. The steak, but it used to have Space Invaders and all the games.
Hey, Anissa, stay on the line when we're done with you because I want to get you a T-shirt from Court Radio. Okay.
Oh, okay, thank you.
What's your question or comment?
Okay, so it's a question. It's a marijuana question. It's going on the lines of with the expungements if you already were convicted. I have a fiance who actually was on probation, and he was convicted of a marijuana case, and because of the conviction with the marijuana, it made him have to go back and see his back judge, and as a result, he ended up getting 5 to 10 for going and getting the marijuana case.
Right.
So my question, I guess, would be if he can go and file an expungement and everything else, would the probation case then be over too, and he wouldn't have to do the 5 to 10, or
okay? Well,
still have to do?
All right. Let me tease this out for you.
Yeah,
First of all, the conviction for the marijuana case, misdemeanor or felony?
I know he ended up getting the conviction was a 1-year probation.
1 year probation.
That doesn't tell.
Yeah, it doesn't tell me anything. But
we need to know what it is first.
Because what's decriminalized is small amounts of marijuana, right? So
under a certain amount.
Yeah, less than an ounce.
An ounce, right?
Yeah. So if he was like, if he had a pound of marijuana, none of this conversation means anything. But if it was a small amount, he had a nickel bag, he had 2 joints, and that was the basis upon which all of this happened, then he clearly fits what we're talking about today. But the big but is right now, nobody who was convicted before the decriminalization is entitled to an expungement. Okay, that's why we're talking to these politicians saying, hey, what are you going to do about all these people who have a conviction for an amount that today they wouldn't have a conviction for? And so until they answer that, okay, and get us, a solution, there's really a class of people who were convicted of something which is no longer a crime, or no longer a crime that would get them a permanent record. How's that? But that's right. There's a lot of work that I think still needs to be done, and the whole expungement legislation is going to be on the forefront of the politicians' dinner plates as soon as they get back to work. They spend so much time getting elected, but the 3 weeks a year that they work. I'm being abused by a politician, but anyway, Nisa, my heart goes out to you and to your fiance, and I hope things clear up. stay tuned for, expungement legislation. But right now, the answer is there's no solution to his issue.
Oh, okay.
All right, stay on the line. We're going to get you a Court Radio T-shirt, all right?
All right, thank you.
All right, hold on. Listen, folks, thanks for listening to Court Radio. We'll be back next Sunday at same time, same place. Have a great week.
Goodbye. Goodbye.